This is going to be a look at Lamar Jackson's throws from the Ravens' Week 11 win over the Carolina Panthers. Of course, there's a lot of criticism of our offense, justly so. We only scored 13 points against a team that we all thought we were going to be able to score at least 21, 24 points against. The Ravens are still, I think, top 10 in the league in scoring. I could be wrong on that. We've been trying to discuss it in our Discord, like how do certain websites keep track of scoring? Do they only do offensive points per game or just points per game total? Me personally, I just do points per game total. I think we're at like 23.8, 24. I think that's good enough to get the job done against most teams, but we know if you're going to try to get through the playoffs in a 3-game run or a 4-game run, there's probably going to have to be a game where you have to score 35 points. I mean, if you just look at the progression of the teams that have won Super Bowls or just gotten to the Super Bowl, there's generally at least one game where you got to kind of outscore someone. So I understand the concerns that people have. Having said that, I have zero concerns about Lamar's ability to fit in one of those games. And I think against Carolina, as crazy as it is to say, I think he played at that level. 72% completion percentage, I think, something like that, maybe 73. Only like 212 yards passing, 210, somewhere around there. Had the interception, which I will show in this video. To be honest with you, I think he made maybe one bad decision, and I think it was on that play. And when I say bad, I mean I think the D tackle just makes an amazing play. Initially in the reaction video, I thought it was a zone drop by the D tackle. It was not. He was actually rushing. Linderbaum did a pretty good job on him, preventing him from getting any vertical push in the middle of the formation. And then the guy just gets his hands up and makes a catch. Now, could Lamar maybe throw it to another player? That's possible, but D tackle made a great play. 24 of 33 passing. I think I'm going to show you the first 19 throws that he made in the game. So all first half throws generally. Even the one that I think didn't count, which was the incompletion to Ricard, I believe he got called back for a lineman downfield, Morgan Moses. So we're going to go through them just in order of how they happened, I believe. Again, 14 of 19 in the first half, really sharp. It's not just how sharp he was, it's how decisive he was, how quickly he made the read and threw the football, and then everything was on target. I mean, maybe one throw to Robinson, maybe two, I thought was off by like a foot, maybe, but it's difficult for me to sit here, and say in the comfort of my own home while I'm recording this, like that's a poor throw. It's a foot or two off. I mean, the margin for error in the NFL is just small. I felt like the Panthers in the reaction video, I said I thought they played a lot of zone. I was somewhat correct, somewhat incorrect. I think they were playing a lot of split field coverage that looked like one coverage on one side of the field and was a different coverage on the other side of the field. Lamar doesn't get fooled by at least a couple of these situations where the Panthers, I think, are trying to fool him. Let's get into some of the tape. Some of these plays I'll go over in detail, and some of them I'll just talk about once we've watched it a couple of times. This one is the second play of the game. I love the concept by the Ravens. Eventually, we're going to get it to Andrews. And watch how patient Lamar is. I mean, he could take off running here. There's no reason why he couldn't take off running. There is a defender who would be able to close, but Lamar's going to have the ability to get to the sideline, get out of bounds, or maybe cut it off of that defender. But he's keeping his eyes up, keeping the ball up, understands where Andrews is going to go. This is a great job by Andrews, and I think Duve. Duve keeps running to the sideline, and Andrews brings it back. I have talked about this a little bit earlier in the season. The top of the numbers is a landmark for certain types of air raid teams, spread teams. It's a landmark for them to use. In high school, the hashes are wider, so the landmarks is the hash. But watch how Andrews brings this back. Once he gets somewhere in this area, he brings it back here, and then Duve takes it further to the sideline. These guys, I think, do a pretty nice job of adapting to Lamar. Now, having said that, I think that there would be an opportunity to throw this ball to Duve, but in my opinion, Duve's route took him a little too far this way. We're going to pull this back after you see the throw one more time. Watch Duve's route from here. I think he veers this a little too far in towards the hash because the NFL hashes are so close together, so far from the sideline. Right here, in my opinion, is the part where he should start snapping this out. And in my opinion, he took it a little too far into the sideline, not pushing that safety more towards the middle of the field. So then Lamar could throw it more towards the sideline because the safety has to match his initial push. Hopefully that made sense. Ricard in motion. We're in 22 personnel. This is a beautiful throw. This is really, really special, if you ask me. You've got Ricard running out into the flats, and he's reading something and sees, okay, let me turn it into a wheel. And then you've got Andrews running out into the flats. Duve is wide open, all right, but you also have a linebacker here who could fit in that window. And what I mean is, if Lamar throws it, here, you have a safety who's recovering, a linebacker who's in the window. So maybe Duve could sit this down. That would be our snag concept, but this doesn't look like snag to me. And besides, we don't really run snag with Duve. But my point is, if Duve is running something where he's sitting it down here, there's the possibility of throwing it outside of this linebacker, which I think is Frankie Lavu, a really, really underrated player. There's three guys who really end up open on this play. Well, let's say definitely two. Andrews and Ricard. And, if Duve's route has him sitting it down, then he would be open. But as it is, throws it up the sideline to Ricard. A beautiful throw. They get Morgan Moses for lineman downfield. I think that's him right there. Let's pull this back so you can see him. He actually is a little bit further downfield than it showed there. Line of scrimmage is the 37. And you can see there's Moses out to like the 40. It's a run concept. All right, it's an RPO. Lamar chose to keep it. We're focusing on the throws. Yeah, Patrick Ricard should and could catch that football. That's a beautiful throw by Lamar, man. I think this is a third down. I could be wrong. Might be a second and long. This is two read. I talked about this a little bit in the DeMarcus Robinson film study that I did earlier today. Two read has the corner and the safety, both reading number two and then reacting depending on his route. So if you get a in-breaking route, a vertical, or an out by number two, that changes how this safety and this corner react to it. This is something the Steelers do a lot of. Watch what Lamar does. He's clearly reading that side. The corner and the safety is both reading likely. So as likely runs the out, you see Lamar pump fake just for a minute. This never gets Lamar. It got RG3 in 2020 against the Steelers. Lamar just finished pump faking here to the out on likely because he recognizes that Horn is going to be able to jump it. I can never say his first name. It's either JC or Jace Horn. But this doesn't get Lamar. It got RG3. Later on in that game against the Steelers in 2020, you remember Trace McSorley was in the game. Steelers ran the same coverage, and McSorley hit Brown for a touchdown. But it's too simplistic to say, oh, McSorley's better at reading it than RG3. No, think of the progression, the order that those things happened. The RG3 play happened first. And then the interception, pick six for a touchdown by Joe Hayden was on that play, on that concept, that two-read concept. Later on in the game, McSorley had the benefit of seeing it on film, seeing pictures, processing it, understanding pre-snap what the coverage was going to be, and then delivering the football. Marquise Brown takes it to the house. Lamar doesn't get, he's totally different than those two. He doesn't get fooled in the first place. I suspect if McSorley's play had happened early and then RG3's later, we would have gotten the same two results. If Lamar's the quarterback, we probably don't throw the pick six, and we probably get a big catch just like you saw on both situations. Hopefully that makes sense when you're trying to compare quarterbacks. This is a great throw. When people talk about drops, in my opinion, this is a drop. Like this ball is thrown in a perfect spot. I don't think Drake or Justice Hill does a great job in pass pro. They don't really stone people. Lamar has to throw it over the top of this rusher who's coming off the edge. So I think that's the reason why this ball was floated a little bit, because he's not able to step into it. Look at his posture. He can't step into it and drive because he's got a rusher and the running back being dumped right into his lap. I love this throw, man. I think that, and I said this in the DeMarcus Robinson video, I think that teams take inside leverage on Andrews often. Now, this safety isn't inside leverage. He's inside leverage now. Why? Because he thinks Andrews is going to run this route, which is typically what he runs. Let's pull this back and see where that safety is pre-snap. There he is. Look at the leverage he's got. He's outside leverage, and we're still able to beat him on an outbreaking route. Why? Because the tendency for Andrews is to cross face and run an over concept. In my opinion, we can make things easier on Mark Andrews by running more outbreaking routes with him than we do in breaking routes. And you can see Andrews identified that's his fault. He should have caught it. I agree. Great throw by Lamar. Regardless of what we think here, should Prochet catch it? I don't know. Can he catch it? Hell yes. He's got great hands. For whatever reason, I don't think this is an off-target throw by Lamar. I think Lamar is trying to throw this as if Prochet's going to bring this back to the sideline like his patented whip route or China out. Whatever we think of that, is fine. I just love the fact that he's decisive. This is quick. This is now the third time in the last 4 weeks, I think, where on a third down, we have lined up Prochet as in the bunch, or in the trips, and two guys are running, some variation of vertical routes, whatever, and Prochet is sitting the thing down and being the main option. I like this. I think it's the coaches recognizing that he's got great hands. Unfortunately for him, this drop, who knows if that changes the coach's opinion. It doesn't change mine. The guy's got great hands. Me personally, I would expect him to make that catch 7 or 8 times out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Beautiful throw. Again, outbreaking route by Mark Andrews. I think these things will be there more because the tendency has been established across the league and across all of our film for Mark Andrews to run most routes, back towards the middle of the field. I kind of really like this concept from a Duve standpoint. Prochet is running the wheel. This is the Marquise Brown route. I only have so much screen to draw on, so that route is not drawn very accurately, to be honest with you. I think the later portion of this is Duve across the middle, and if I remember correctly, this one is there. This is one of those, yeah, it's against a linebacker. The ball's already out. All right, here's the ball. So great that Lamar's making quick decisions. No problem. I do think that there are times where Duve is available for the football, and this is one of them. Now, it doesn't look like it right now, but he's crossing that linebacker's face. He's damn sure open now. No, am I saying Lamar shouldn't throw the ball to Andrews? No. I'm glad he's getting the ball out quick. I'm glad he's making decisive throws, putting it in stride. I do think that there are some times in this game against the Panthers when Duve is available for the ball. I'm not getting into that whole, was Harbaugh throwing shade at Lamar with what he said. I don't care. Like, for real, I don't care. All right, out into the flats. This is badass. It's not a huge game, for real. But you've got motion by Likely going across. Then you've got Ricard, who lined up on the right, pass proing on the left. Really cool. So you get this cross or split flow action from the fullback and the tight ends. Simultaneous to that, Justice Hill is crossing Lamar's face, and he's running out here. This, to me, is a classic Greg Roman situation where one guy goes through a zone and the second guy runs on top of that zone. He's wide open 90-95% of the time. So what I mean is Likely went in motion and ran a wheel. Right, I'm all about wheels. I love it. I think it's a great route. I love wheel sits. And then the second guy is Hill going through the same swath of the field that Likely just ran through. Conceptually, that guy ends up open a ton, if you ask me. It's a 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7. Keeps us moving forward. I think created a 3rd and 2. Great decision by Lamar. Let me run that back one more time. Let's look. I don't have the end zone angle for most of these, for real, guys. If you don't like that, if you'd like to see the end zone angle more so we could see what Lamar was looking at more clearly, let me know. For me to download these plays in all 22, back to back to back is so quick and easy. Anybody that's creating content, I would recommend using the website to get your plays. You can see on the backside, he's checking this in-breaking route. It's shut down by the safety. You've got Andrews, checking up between the hash and the top of the numbers. Lamar comes back to, for whatever reason, right now he's looking, decides that he doesn't want to go there, fine. And then late in the progression to Justice Hill. That is, to me, that is quintessential, classically fundamental quarterback play. Play fake. He's actually looking, at first he's actually looking here, it looks like to me. But if we had the end zone angle, we'd be able to check for sure. But he's definitely on the slant to his left, the top side of the screen now. Andrews number 2, 3 back here to Justice Hill. How could someone watch that play and say Lamar Jackson isn't this, Lamar Jackson isn't that? When he's given time, when he's given protection, he goes through his progressions quick enough and gets the ball out there. Looked really comfortable, if you ask me. And there's no reason why this can't be replicated. All right, 11 personnel. I think a speed out to Demarcus Robinson on a 3rd and 13. Quick. Recognizes the coverage. I said in the Demarcus Robinson video that I think Lamar must have done great film study because he recognized the coverage is quick and got the ball out with no hesitation. Now, just getting back to the do thing a little bit, you do have mirrored routes here. Yeah, speed out. That route's not drawing up great. And then a speed out here. I'm not dealing with a whole lot of screen at the bottom side. Duve is open and available for the football too. Lamar just chooses to go to the other side at this point. You know, Demarcus Robinson's got a 9-catch, 128-yard performance, you know, tucked away. There's no reason why Lamar shouldn't trust him. Having said that, Duve is making himself available on the same route. The only difference is this corner has got outside leverage. This corner is on inside leverage. I think he's probably looking for the slant, which we hit him on that too, right? The interception that Lamar throws, I think 3rd possession, maybe it was 4th, I'm not sure. That one is later on. That's going to be the last play I show. Another out-breaking route to Demarcus Robinson. I'm not sure if this ball's off target or not. Screen kind of is a little jiggly. You can see it's all out-breaking routes, except I'm sure Prochet's getting ready to bring this back here on the whip route. Andrews is running out. And just, I saw a comment in one of the videos I did earlier this week. Look, there's plenty of teams that run this concept. This is not something that's unusual for 2 receivers on the same side to both be running outs. That's not. It would be putting the number 2 defender from the sideline in conflict. So like let's say up at the top you had a nickel defender in between 1 and 2. If he goes with 1, then 2's just going to sit it down and Lamar would throw it in there. That's one way that you can read the 2 outs. But in this case, it happens to be soft coverage. Maybe that throws a little off target. I really don't think so. I am not a huge fan of the way we run this snag, but it does work. This is the 3rd time, to my knowledge, that we have run this concept in the last 2 years. It's probably more than that. And when I say that, I mean 3rd time out of slot ram. So the fullback is on the right and he's going out in the flats. Tight end is on the right, he's in the slot, and he's running basically smash, really. You got that little snag by the number 1 receiver. I think, from what I have been exposed to, is that Oliver is being taught to get to the outside shoulder of this linebacker, not allowing that linebacker to expand and get in the window of Demarcus Robinson. And I think that's why these routes end up so close together. If you want to say, no, it's Greg Roman and the offense don't know how to design routes, I'm sorry, you're just wrong. There are things that players are taught to do to help get other guys open, and I think Josh Oliver is doing that. This linebacker is expanding because he sees Ricard out in the flats. This strong safety is taking it. Robinson is taught to get to the backside of that defender and sit down. And I think Oliver is taught to not let that linebacker cross his face, which then clears the window for Robinson. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's check out Lamar on this. Another quick decision. After play action fake. Looks like he might be considering Andrews for a moment, or he's just trying to look this defender and convince him to go with Ricard to then open things up for Robinson. That's probably the more likely explanation. It's another great job by Lamar. I know there's other people out there that break down quarterbacks. I would be interested to hear what they have to say about the way Lamar played in this game, particularly the way he threw the ball. A lot of quick decisions. I think this is late in the half. I wonder if this is a little bit of a paradigm shift for the Ravens in terms of Lamar getting the ball out quick, or I wonder if it's just as a result of the Panthers playing a little bit more off coverage, softer coverage. This looks like a zone blitz by the Panthers where they're bringing 5 and they've got 3 underneath, 3 deep. So 5-man blitz, zone blitz essentially. Even if it's not a nickel blitz off the edge, I would still classify a 5-man rush with 3 deep, 3 under as a zone blitz concept. Short gain to Justice Hill. Very next play, I believe. Same formation, same personnel on the field. Again, double outs. 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7. This one is from the far hash. It's not an easy throw. Granted, it is off coverage. You've got a lot of room here, obviously. And I think the double move is set up at some point in this game, meaning I think the out and up to Demarcus Robinson is set up in this game. I'm not sure why we didn't go to it. I guess we didn't have to because we were in such control defensively. That throw, I mean, maybe that throw could be another 2 feet in this direction. Not where I just drew that arrow. Maybe that ball could be here, maybe 2 feet further or a foot. I don't know. For that throw being from the far hash, apparently it was a super windy day. I feel like this is just another example of Lamar just being on fire, making everything look easy in terms of throwing the ball. Very next play, I believe, or maybe 2 plays later, Andrews wide open in between the hash and the top of the numbers. It's the one where he pretty much refused to go down. Actually, it was 2 of those. That motion by the running back gets people to expand. Look at this linebacker. This is consistent across the whole season when we do this. The running back motion out there expands their linebacker, and then who just sits in that vacated space? Andrews. This is pretty easy for Lamar. No pressure on him at all. We're going to have to win games in the playoffs. We're going to have to play to this level. Maybe not for the whole game. I'm talking about Lamar. Play to this level for large stretches of the game, even when there is some pressure. And that's the difficulty, right? One of our oldest and most experienced coaches used to say, when you get in the playoffs and you face good teams, there's less time and less space. And right now in this game against the Panthers, Lamar had a lot of time, generally. Now, there was times where the defense did a good job of getting some pressure. This is not one of them. 3-man rush, likely running underneath. Burns doesn't look comfortable in these zone drops, if you ask me. Likely is wide open, and that's a drop. Did he have 2 drops in this game? I know he had 1. I'm just glad that we're throwing this route for real. Yeah, it's 2nd and 2, so you may say, well, that's why he's throwing this route. That's a little too simple, if you ask me. Or actually, that's a little too complicated, I guess. If he's open, throw it. And Lamar seemed to have that mentality Sunday. That's a ball that Isaiah likely can catch. I'm not sure why he did not. Again, I don't have the end zone angle for some of these, so forgive me for that. Another empty. I think this is the same drive. Again, we're only showing the first half. I love this play. I do not fault Demarcus Robinson for getting caught. Frankie Lavue, I think, is this guy here. He's going to drop out and read Lamar's helmet. Lamar pump fakes, and I think gets him to expand horizontally and then throws the slant on, basically double slants inside of that zone drop. So Lamar pump fakes, and this guy expands horizontally, and then the ball is going to be thrown back on the other side of him. Again, I also like Prochet's route. I like that Prochet's route pulls the safety and clears out that area. I think this is just well designed against this coverage. And then once he catches the ball, he sees 24 there, so he's not trying to veer it off in this direction. You know what I mean? So he brings it back here to get away from 24, and unfortunately that corner catches up to him. We all would love for this to have been a house call. I think this is into the second quarter, but I could be wrong in terms of the timestamp on the game. Another kind of slot fade by Duve that we're not, targeting. Actually, it's kind of really like smash over here to Trips. Corner is off. Lamar didn't seem to go to Duve's side in terms of the initial read, but hey, with the way Demarcus Robinson was playing, with the efficiency that he showed, can you blame him? I mean, I would have kind of liked to see Demarcus Robinson get 10, 12, or more targets. Trips B, so trips to one side. I think he's going to go to Duve here. And I think Prochet is just trying to screen off this defender for Duve underneath. I believe this linebacker is Shaq Thompson, and I think he gets in the window, and that's why Lamar doesn't throw it. Because he just wouldn't have been able to generate. It's a nice job by 24, too, getting underneath of that. I think this is 24, the corner. And we're trying to screen him, basically. I mean, as a defensive guy, I'm not a huge fan that these are never called, pass interference on the offense because it is downfield. Prochet didn't get enough of a piece of him at all, really, on second glance. I don't know that he even touched him. Great job by this linebacker, man. Staying inside leverage on Andrews. And then Lamar's not going to be able to get enough on this throw to get it to Duve without this guy being able to react to it. Looks like simultaneous to that, Andrews is running some type of 7 route, corner route. Burns, I think this is the one where he beats Stanley pretty cleanly, which has not happened since Ronnie Stanley came back. Maybe it's because Lamar was moving out of the pocket, drifting that way slightly to throw the football to that side, because that's where the read is. And maybe that's why it looks so bad. But in my opinion, that's a win for Burns pretty cleanly, which again is rare. All right, empty set. Duve going over to quads. I wish we had a short route developing here, but I know it's 2nd and 10, and this is near the end of the half. I really don't feel like this is a bad throw. A friend of mine said like that should be an easy touchdown. I disagree. Like this is Andrews running underneath. So the design of this is such that we're trying to pull this safety with Andrews. Lamar's trying to get time. By the way, this is definitely not a loss for Stanley here. And then here is Likely running across the back of the end zone. This is not as easy and simple of a throw as some people would expect. I mean, there's definitely the possibility to get him a football. Maybe that ball is 2 feet high. You can see that Likely's outstretched hand is not able to reach it, in any manner that he could possibly catch the football. But I don't view this as a bad throw. I do wish Demarcus Robinson's route was a little more effort driven here, something to hold this guy. It does accomplish its task of holding him. In my opinion, if this corner isn't here in the end zone, I think it's possible that Lamar kind of tries to put it over here. You guys know I think Lamar is a super aware player. I think he has some awareness of this player over here being available to make a play on the football. If he puts it, down here in this area, designed to be inside of the end line. This is not a stretch for me to say I think this is intentionally thrown where it is. Some people, I'm sure, will disagree and say Lamar's trying to throw it. Excuse me. Lamar's trying to throw it in a place where it gives Likely a 70% chance to catch it. I disagree. I think the reason why this ball is slightly high and held, meaning no further in this direction, is because he has understanding that this corner is available. And I can't prove that, obviously, because I don't think I have the end zone angle. I just, with the sharpness that he was throwing that day and the accuracy that he had, I don't think this is as poor of a throw as some other people might. But, your opinion may differ, and that's fine. I think the next one is the interception. And it's going to be this D tackle here. It's kind of a shocking play for real for a D tackle to make. You got this cross flow, and yeah, Josh Oliver's wide open. I mean, there's no lie. He is wide open. This could be a situation where Lamar is too focused on Andrews. There's the D tackle locked up with Linderbaum. I mistakenly thought that this was the line of scrimmage. When I saw this on the replay, it was clearly not. Why would Linderbaum be past the line of scrimmage? The D tackle, has tried to rush. Linderbaum anchored down, prevented any vertical rush, and then 93 just did a great job getting his hands up. Now, if you want to be, real critical, you absolutely can. You can say, hey, man, Andrews is drawing the corner. The design of this, I mean, good Lord. Oliver over here, he's wide open. But I don't think Lamar is reading this corner. If Lamar had awareness that this corner was running with Andrews, he would clearly, hold and throw the football here. I believe that we think this route by Ricard is going to hold this corner backside, similar to like the climb concept stuff we do against cover 3. It's a great play by the D tackle. Do I wish that Lamar held on to it and threw it to Oliver? Hell yes. I'm not sure what he's reading here, to be honest with you. I mean, it appears as if his field of vision is like this. That's what this looks like to me. Maybe he's just checking this safety to see what that safety's doing. I'm not sure. But in any case, Oliver is wide open, and that's probably a touchdown, right? All right, end zone angle, you'll see, and I think some people share this picture. I do like the play. I really like the play. It's jokers, so we've got two running backs next to Lamar, and Ricard is running out into the flats after pass proing initially. You can see Oliver's feet is up here. So, yeah, he's going to be wide open. I'm just not sure what Lamar's looking at. I'm not saying he should have thrown the ball there. I don't know what he's looking at for the read here to decide to throw it to Andrews. I think initially he looked at the safety. I think that was the first thing he looked at. He's not looking there now. I think he was looking there initially before I paused it. And then now he's looking here at something, presumably the safety, or maybe he's looking at this linebacker expanding with Drake and thinking that Andrews is going to run into that open space. I mean, who the hell would expect a D tackle to make this kind of play? I certainly wouldn't. I feel like if you throw this ball, to Oliver, it's a huge play. I feel like if Lamar throws the ball to Andrews in this situation 10 times, it's going to be caught by Andrews 8 times because he's wide open too. So sometimes guys make great plays. I wish Lamar had held on to the ball, been able to get it out there to Oliver because it would have been a big moment. I thought he threw the ball great on Sunday. I know this video went on long, but it's Lamar Jackson, my favorite guy to try to do film study on. Hopefully it's your favorite guy to watch film study of. I didn't want to do the entire game. I know there's other people out there. I think it was on Twitter. I saw QB School, I think is what it's called, did one of another quarterback like every throw. Maybe it was Zach Wilson. And I know in previous weeks they've done that for Lamar Jackson as well. This was all the first half throws, I think. Incredibly sharp, on point, making good decisions, except for that last play there, obviously. But sometimes you got to give credit to the defense. Who the hell would expect a D tackle to engage the center, lose his pass rush rep, I guess, if he was actually trying to win it? He may have been just settling there and then get his hands up and make an interception. I guess the throw's low enough by Lamar to allow him to do that. Let me know what you think of Lamar's play, his throws specifically. I did think early in the game you could kind of tell that maybe he had been sick during the week because he didn't look as explosive running the ball. But then he had two, pretty damn incredible runs later on in the game, or in the second half, as I remember it. And then let me know what you think of my breakdown, if you think there's any missing elements or things that I didn't cover based on Lamar's play in the Ravens' Week 11 win over the Panthers. Thank you guys for checking the video out. Appreciate your time.